Okay, it is time to dissect the Prefontaine Classic. And how dare Aaron and I think we should do this alone? We could, but we won't because we've brought in an absolute titan in the world of track and field to help us. He's a world champion, a four-time Olympic medalist. He's also a pilot. He's also a proud Trini and a broadcasting savant. I mean, how many talents can one man have? It really is not fair, but Out of Boldon is here. Thank you for making time for Trackside, my friend.
Absolutely. I've actually watched your show and enjoyed it, so I am more than happy to be here with you this evening.
Well, Perdita, I didn't know being Trini was considered a
talent?
talent, but we'll roll with it.
Hey,
We'll
hey,
roll with
hey,
it.
hey, watch yourself. You see?
I'm a Jamaican invasion. I'm Jamaican invasion.
Start
So.
off good. Look where you going. You see?
anyways, yes, we definitely brought in a titan to the show, so I appreciate you being on trackside. But we'll get right into it. In the Prefontaine Classic, the race that everybody had circled, I'm sure you did as well, was that women's 100 meters, and it lived up to the hype. We had the entire podium at that race, plus some other superstars. But how about Melissa Jefferson Wooden? So far this year, she's looked like the woman to beat. You know, she's beat everybody that she's lined up against. What's your take on her and her season so far?
Well, this is definitely Melissa Jefferson Wooden 2.0. And she's always had this fire. She's always had a good engine. Her form's always been good. She's always been a gamer. But this year, it's a different ball game. And I think I will go on the record right now, not as a stretch, as saying, I don't think that there's somebody to beat Melissa in Tokyo who is not from St. Lucia.
Okay.
Because I feel like if we're being honest, the two of them have separated. And I know that Sha'Carri has time, but it ain't that much time. And I have some issues with the technical aspects of Sha'Carri's race from since last year because she's not getting out of those blocks. And there's no way that you're gonna spot Melissa or Julian that much space and run them down. So I think that Prefontaine was kind of a case of, okay, I saw Melissa during Grand Slam. We all saw her. It's not just her 100. It's her confidence, it's her swag, and most importantly, her 200-meter dash. Yeah. Just to me, she's checking every box that Julian checked last year, except I think she's starting better than she ever has in her life.
So let me ask you this about Sha'Carri, since you touched on that, right? She ran 11.4 at the start of the season. People were panicked. Everyone's like, relax, it's fine. She's last at Prefontaine, which we all know is a big turning point in the season. What do you make of where she is right now? Are we hitting the panic button? I know you say there's not a lot of time, but there is still time. What do we make of this?
There is time. I think depending on who you are, you hit the panic button. I think a lot of her fans go, she'll be fine. You guys always write off our girl and she always comes through and there's lots of time. I think that's how her fans are going to feel and that's how they're supposed to feel. I think those of us who have a more critical eye, who look at, listen, and you guys already know this, I don't have to explain this to you, this is for your audience. That time that Julian and Melissa just ran, you start doing those numbers and start putting like a 1.5, a 2.0 behind it instead of a headwind. We're talking mid-10 fives. This is not like, oh, they ran a good race. That is literally one of the best races ever run by a human female. And both of them did it. So to get back to the point, it's too late to think that she's going to go from, in my mind, she's going to go from where she is there to being able to, pulling up next to Julian and Melissa. But I will say that I just feel like there are other things, not just, I was injured and I'm behind, that
what
she
are those
has
things
to fix. If Sha'Carri is going to be a world champion or Olympic champion, she has to come out of the blocks better. She's not Bolt. She's not Noah. She's not... Can she run a lot of people down? Absolutely. But you're not running down somebody with a superior 200. Now start looking at who in a potential 100-meter final has better 200s. Sharika, yes. Melissa, yes now. And then Julian, who I think is going to run 21.6 this year. So for me, The men's picture is a lot more intriguing. The women, for me, unless I see something completely different between now and mid-September, I think I know where the goal's going. It's either going to St. Lucia or the US.
Wow. Well, you touched on it, and normally the main event is the men's 100 meters. Going back to your days when you were lining up with Donovan and everybody. But right now, the world leader is Shane Thompson, and he took the win at the pre-classic. He looked good up until around 70, 80, and then he kind of looked like he got a little bit tight at the end. I'm not sure exactly what happened, and he had some comments after saying that he was working on some things in his race, and I don't know, him and his coach are working on some stuff. But what have you made about his season so far and just the landscape of the men's 100 overall?
I think he too, like Melissa Jefferson Wooden, has improved. I don't think there's as clear a path. Look, him and Noah are on a collision course in Tokyo. We know that. But I need to see Noah first, because Noah is the one who's behind now. I don't want to count out guys like Benarik and Bramel and others. But for me, the path to the world title goes through Kishane. You can't look at how he's running and the times that he's running and the ease with which he's running and think that 3 people are beating him at Worlds. Now, having said that, when Kishane walked out onto the track in Paris, I said it on NBC. I said, he should win. But do not discount the lack of experience at this level. And the one thing that Kishane does not have a lot of is people pulling up next to him when he is mid-flight. Mm-hmm. And I think if we are honest, if you look at Kishane's last 15 or 20 from Paris, it was a little ragged. So to me, that is literally the only kryptonite that I can see with Mr. Thompson. That means for me, he's the favorite unless I see differently. But I want to see Noah first. I want to see Noah's 200 in Monaco, and I want to see Noah's build-up, because I got Noah wrong in 23, because I looked at, he had only gotten 3rd at trials, and same thing, I was like, I don't like his acceleration, and he came to Budapest accelerating like crazy and starting better. So I don't want to get caught. I don't get caught often, but Noah got me that year and then let me have it by saying, oh, how come you had Fred pick? So it's like, okay, you got me. But yeah, to me, Kishane is the favorite, and he's proven it.
There, let's talk about Letsili at Pre 1976 to win. Listen, he was in Rabat. He was like dead last, I think, in the 100. Pulled out of the 200. He's had some hamstring problems. I honestly didn't think he's going to come with 19.7, but how well does that bode for him, considering you're coming off of a month and a half and you run a 19.7 and we still have a lot of runway for him? What do you make of Letsili right now?
I continue to be impressed by him, because I too did not think that he was coming with a 19.7 until you realize, hey, 80 degree, we've all run at that facility. 80 degree day, 2.0-ish winds blowing, good winds blowing behind you. You're gonna run fast. Great atmosphere. I think it's the most people I've ever seen at 80. He is a wonder. But the best thing about him, I think right now, is he don't like Noah. Not only is he not like Noah, he doesn't like Noah. He's not afraid of Noah. So I got shots that you guys maybe didn't get, or maybe you did on
tell us
Olympic Channel. When Noah is coming out in Paris with all the histrionics and the drama, he is there like I want to murder this guy. And to me, if the 100 is going to be maybe a 2 or a 3-man race, at least I can fall back on the 200, which is still, I think, relatively wide open, because I think Benarik is going to have a lot to say about who's the world champion this year too. I'm not as convinced that Letsili is going to be a 100-meter threat, but I think the podium's going to look a lot like Paris, even if it may be shuffled a little bit.
You're right, because Letsili called. He was interviewed after that 200-meter race that he won at the Olympics. He said, "I'm not loud and arrogant like Noah." But here's the thing about Letsili. Let's call a spade a spade. He doesn't do a lot of loud talking and carrying on, but he knows how to command attention and showboat a little bit at the end of the race. So I don't know if you remember 2022 in Cali. He broke the under 20 world record.
I'm so glad you mentioned that.
Do you remember that?
Go ahead.
And he's 10, 15 meters from the line, okay? World record winning. And he's like doing Usain Bolt during the race to the other competitors. Come on, gimme. So Letsile, you can showboat too. And even this, did you see what he did after pre, right? And he was asked, what is that? He's like, it's from Fortnite or something like that. I kind of like this.
I love it because it's like how people who used to live in the club and now they live in church. It's like he's a reformed showboater. It's like I don't showboat anymore, and in fact now I'm gonna scorn all showboaters because I'm on this side where I feel like I have to have some decorum and some dignity when I perform.
Backslide.
Yeah, it's all good, and I love that stuff. That's the stuff my generation did, right? That posturing and the posing, and y'all figure it out. And I'm gonna see you got that. To me, is the track and field that I grew up in.
I miss
so
it.
The more they go back to that, the better. So for me, a perfect world is Noah running 19.5-ish before Worlds, Benarik running 19.5-ish before Worlds. Letsile running that kind of time, and all of them sniping at each other. The hundreds decided. Now let's show up in the 200 and see what's now. Let's see who's who, because Noah now can't. There's no COVID anymore, right? Because Noah fans said, "Hey, he had COVID. That's why he lost." People who hate Noah went. He talked all that talk, and then hid behind his excuse. And I'm like, okay, whoever side you're on.
They brought wheelchair for him. Remember they brought wheelchair for him?
Right. And oh my God, you reminded me of one of the funniest things I saw, and I'm like, that's the third one. Did you see at Letsile's celebration in Botswana that some of the people were in a wheelchair? I was like, you have to be from the third world, I think, to understand how our people think and how funny that is. Anyway, I just feel like the 200 could be the scene stealer in Tokyo, because now Noah is like, I had to show you, Mr. Letsile, that last year was an anomaly and it was not the rule. It's the reason why you've only beaten me once. And Letsile is going to be thinking, I have to remind you guys why I blew you all away at the Olympics. So to me, the 200 could be like the sleeper event in Tokyo.
Well, even before we get to Tokyo, we got Monaco where they're lining up together. Give us a prediction real quick. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you for your expert opinion on what he's going to run both in Monaco and in London for his 100 opener. What kind of times are you expecting out of Noah opening up so late in the season?
If Noah could still open up in 19.7, and we've just seen Letsile run that. So I think it's going to be a close race between them. I maybe give Letsile a little edge because he's a little sharper and Noah is a little further back. That to me would be ideal. If Noah loses, he's only lost once before on a Diamond League circuit, and that's to Michael Norman years ago.
2019.
So to me, if you hand Noah his second loss ever in the Diamond League in his whole pro career, to me it makes Tokyo even sweeter. But I think I go 51% Letsile, just because I feel like he is a little sharper at this point.
Listen, that little 1% will take that. That's a lot.
It might. And London might be more of the same. London might be a reverse. Maybe Noah gets really incentivized by, hearing everybody say that Letsile owns him, or
Well, listen, Noah scrubbed his whole Instagram. Noah's going through something because he scrubbed his whole Instagram. He has just a couple black and white posts talking about he's going to Monaco Hercules. So I don't know. You know how some people kind of shave their heads to like signal a new beginning? I don't know.
Letsile shaved his, so
yeah, literally.
Who knows? Let's see. We're here for it.
Adam Boldon, thank you. Somebody's getting licks, so we're just going to find out who. We don't know who yet, but someone's going to give out licks. Adam Boldon, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And being Trini is a talent, as is being West Indian, so you know. Thanks, Ado.
I am Trini and Jamaican, so what?
You never claimed that one, though.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
You can change it up. I didn't know you're Jamaican. I didn't know about that one.
Yeah,
you didn't know.
It's a well-kept secret. Yes, my mother's Jamaican. Okay. My father's Trini. I think that gives me the same DNA as Dina Atherton.